Hi, Zesties. Okay, you know what? I'm not even going to blame my McDonald's on depression today. I was just busy and, like, to be honest, I just worked until I was kind of like, oh my gosh, I'm so hungry. I can't cook. I need to eat, like, now. So I came to McDonald's, which is like the only fast food in my area. Well, I don't count this to be in my area because I live on the beach and I have to like cross a bridge. To get here, but you know what? I've said it a million times. Living on the beach here is really like nice and beautiful. However, it's very hard for a foodie. There's like nothing out here. And now we actually have no grocery store. So to go to any type of grocery store or restaurant or anything, you have to leave the beach area. Which I still find really crazy because this is like a rich people area, so I would think they would want like grocery stores and stuff around, but you know, Pinellas is still really confusing to me as someone who lived in Tampa for 4 years. Pinellas still confuses me every day. Also, just as someone, like, I moved to Fort Lauderdale in 2017. I moved to Tampa in 2020. And then I moved to St. Pete, like, a few months ago. And then I moved to the beach, like, 2 months ago. And now I need a new place. Hey, if anyone knows. Of a place for me to rent. At this point, I would prefer to do it. I'd prefer to rent a place in St. Pete proper. But the biggest, you know what? This is so nice. I was kind of beating myself up because I spent $4 on this, but it's like, you know what? I don't care. I deserve it. I deserve everything. That's something that I enjoy so much about making food videos. It's just like, you know what? No, I'm going to enjoy my life and I don't care. I don't care. But the big thing that confuses me about Pinellas County is that there are very few Hispanic people. Like when I lived in Fort Lauderdale, this is in the context of South Florida, where there's Miami, where like almost everyone speaks Spanish. But you know, in the context of South Florida, Miami people claim that Fort Lauderdale does not speak Spanish. But like half the people I knew there only spoke Spanish, no English. And it was really common that I'd go places and they would just be like, you know, en que puedo ayudarle. They don't even give you any type of English option. There's no press 1 for English. Tampa was different. Because most people are bilingual, you know, and they typically will prefer to speak to you in English, but still, you know, Spanish is their first language, but still, most people in Tampa are like Cuban or Puerto Rican or something like that. Where I lived, it was, you know, it was very, there were almost no people that were not Cuban or Puerto Rican. You know what I mean? So I thought all of Florida was Spanish speaking until I moved out here, and I was like, oh, no. I guess there's areas of Florida that don't speak Spanish. And at first, okay, I tried to do it without the AC for you guys, even though someone on my crab video said, no, do the AC for us. But I don't like you having all that noise. But anyway, when I first moved out here, I was hating on it a lot because I was like, oh, I was used to my international food, and like in Tampa, pretty much I could get any like Hispanic or Caribbean product I want. At any market. And here, I have to go to a specialty Caribbean or Hispanic market, which from me on the beach would be a 30-minute drive. And I would walk in Tampa. So I was hating on the food here a lot. And I already was a food hater in Tampa because Fort Lauderdale had a crazy food scene, and here it's just not like that. But obviously the crabs here are crazy. You know, I really would like to blow up for these food videos so that I could put St. Pete on the map. I want to go to the other cities that are claiming they have better crabs than St. Pete and tell them, no, you don't. No, you don't. There's also like such a culture around the crabs here. Like, for example, I've seen people online talking about crabs at like 7 in the morning. Where else do they do that? I was shocked this one day where, like, on one of the crab people that I follow, because I've, like, let me see, who have I been to? I've been to Kaya, Sup Crab, Crispy Crab, Dirty Diana's, and Channel's Seafood Market. So that's like 5. There's like 100 crab places here, like a huge number, but one of the crab places I was following, someone was like, I know it's early, but do you have crabs today? And the post was from like 7 a.m. And I was like, only in St. Pete is someone thinking about crabs at 7 a.m., you know? Yeah, but hopefully I'll be able to stay here because the housing crisis is so crazy. It's become almost impossible to live, and it is more expensive out here than in Tampa. Tampa was significantly cheaper than St. Pete. And now I feel like an idiot because I had a studio for $10.50 and I left it. And now I need a place again. And now I might end up in Mississippi. Hey, but everything happens for a reason. Even if I say that's like just something that people with hard lives say to cope or whatever, I'm trying to think that, everything happens for a reason. Geez, I'm having a hard time finishing this milkshake. Okay, I'm leaving. Bye, sisters.